All right. So let's keep going through your OTA questions. The next one, and I see it here. I happen to have a vested interest in this, but go ahead. Read us your question, Michael Penix Jr. fan.
Not me.
Well, I mean, you're a Falcons. You're a Falcons fan, so like that means you stole my quarterback. Go ahead.
Will the Raiders regret not drafting a quarterback? I honestly think the answer on this is TBD. TBD, because it kind of depends on what you think about the quarterbacks who were just drafted. I think that 6 quarterbacks winning the top 12 picks is like unreasonable. For you to be at pick 13 and be like, there's nobody left. We know based on NFL history that that's just a bad bet for these teams to be making. QB 6 going in the top 12 to the Broncos. I would imagine we see a good amount of busts there. So to me, if you're like not in the, obviously you can't get Caleb Williams because that's locked in for months. So really you're looking at like Drake May or Jaden Daniels, and you would have to give up a lot to jump from 13 to 2 or 3. I don't know if they will regret it yet, but I do know I would be feeling kind of down if I was a Raiders fan looking across the division. I still think my quarterback situation is better than Denver. I would rather have Minshew and Aiden O'Connell than Bo Nix. But, you got Mahomes and Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. I don't know. I think you can kind of look at it either way, which is why it's a question. Do the Raiders regret it?
You're not wrong. Unfortunately, one of my favorite phrases my mom grew me up with was people in hell want ice water. I think the Raiders wanted a quarterback, right? But the cost of moving up made it so prohibitive. I said months before the draft on one of our shows that I don't think there was any offer that was going to get the top 3 teams to move off of the top 3 quarterbacks. And I stand by that. Like, the Raiders did not make it secret that they coveted Jaden Daniels. I don't think there's anything they could have offered that would have gotten Jaden Daniels to them. So now all of a sudden you're looking at it and saying, okay, so now what do you do? And part of the reason that this all gets so complicated is that, like I mentioned earlier in the show, next year's draft class is not right now widely regarded as a very good one. Shedeur Sanders has as many question marks as answers. Quinn Ewers, we're not even sure he's going to hold on to the starting job. Like, it's just Some of these quarterbacks don't look particularly good. Will they regret it? I don't think there was anything. Maybe I've just made peace in my mind. I don't think they could have gotten into the top 3 no matter what. So would they regret JJ? Would they regret, not trying to trade up to get Bo Nix? I don't know. I think they just got stuck where they are. And sometimes in life, you're just stuck.
Yeah. You're stuck. You're just stuck. But I do.
Boy,
think
that makes my Sundays dark, man. I'm gonna have to get I haven't had a drink of alcohol in 2 months. I'm gonna have to get like a special bottle on Sundays just to make it through what this quarterback's gonna look like.
Hey, you have my favorite defensive line duo, I think, to watch in the league now. Well, Wilkins and Crosby. Like, they're on some crazy Iron Man that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. Just in terms of like percent of snaps played, games played. Like, they never come off the field. They never miss time. Like, even Christian Wilkins, I think he was almost hitting 90% of the snaps as a defensive tackle, which is crazy. And then you look at Crosby's playing like 97% of the snaps. The defense should be, I think the defense should be in good shape. And I think just the philosophical question of, will the Raiders regret not trading up for quarterback? I don't know if they will, because of what you said. One, the price to get one of those guys for teams that needed quarterbacks desperately would have been exorbitant. Talking 3 first-round picks plus whatever other plays you got that would throw sweeteners in there for you to actually get up there, because that's the price that's being paid for quarterback talent now, especially at the top of the draft. That would be a tough one to just make happen in general. But you didn't blow the assets. You still got your future first-round picks in case another quarterback comes up that you feel a little bit better about. Still got a good defense. I think that there's merit in being patient and waiting until you find the right guy. And as a Georgia fan, I will never say that picking Brock Bowers in the first round is a bad idea. I think he was arguably the best player in the entire class. Is the fit a little muddy with Michael Mayer? Maybe, but it's not like Michael Mayer is so good that you would pass on drafting someone like Brock Bowers.
Especially if you have mediocre quarterback play. What better way to help a mediocre quarterback than addressing your offensive line, which they did also in the draft, and then giving yourself a room that now has Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, like you've put enough
White's
weapons.
not a total dud?
And I think Zamir White has a chance to be a really quality running back. He showed out in the last month of the season last year. This offense is actually in pretty good shape for a quarterback to walk in and have it be plug and play. So in my mind, you've actually made your weakness better by getting Brock Bowers. It gives you somebody, if you can even get competent quarterback play. Look, I think the Raiders this year are probably a 7-win football team, maybe an 8-win football team, but I think they're a 7 or 8-win football team that next year when they pay Dak Prescott $375 million fully guaranteed, some people are going to suddenly fall in love with.
Yeah, dude, it can be tough because the framework is for a good team is like it's finally coming together. Just missing that last piece. But I would say it's better to be missing that last piece than to blow all those picks, blow all those assets, trade a player that's going to be good for your football team to go get someone that, you might not know is good. We'll see what happens in the future, but I really don't think being patient here is bad because what happens if you go out and you trade all those picks and the quarterback's not any good? Okay, well, I still don't have a quarterback that's as good as Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, and now I don't have the assets to go make my team better regardless. Now, before we move on, I have a question for you. Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew? Which one?
So I've actually been asked this a lot today. It's so funny that you asked me this question. I think what happens here is a little bit of brand bias. When we like someone, we fall in love with what they do. And people like Gardner Minshew, the character. So even last year, it's like, oh, look at all the wins in Indianapolis. Well, if you go back and rewatch those games, Shane Steichen did a lot of really nice work to cover up some things, and Gardner was fine. Aiden O'Connell, if you go back, people weren't infatuated with Aiden O'Connell last year, and frankly, early on, he struggled. Over the course of the year, he got to be okay. And I think Aiden's probably a pretty okay quarterback, right? So in my mind, I think okay wins out here. I think Aiden O'Connell is going to be calm enough. I think he's going to win the job in preseason. I think it's going to go to Aiden. But I think the expectation is really going to be, can either of these guys limit their mistakes? Like the way the Raiders are going to win this year is limiting their turnovers. Right? That defense, let the defense keep the other team's score down and then just try and find a way to pound out some wins. I think it's a very boring way to win games, but Aiden's capable of playing smart football. He has to get better at getting rid of the ball faster. He did over the course of the year. I think that continues. And even though he doesn't look like a quarterback or sound like a quarterback or really have a quarterback's body, he looks like, like your buddy that's had too many beers. Like, even though he doesn't fit any of the molds, I think Aiden's going to win the job.
Yeah, I think so too. And he'll be my pick for the job. Just whatever you showed last year, probably feels like you can get a little bit more out of that moving forward than whatever you see from Gardner Minshew, which is maxed out probably.
Yeah, especially with with Getsy as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. I think you're going to see a lot of play action and get the ball out to the tight ends. It's just going to be play action, tight end, deep. Play action, tight end, deep. That's it. Like it's which is going to be fine. Just going to need a quarterback to not screw that up.